So you've heard us talk a lot about no kings, and you've talked, we've had discussions about the funding mechanisms in the modern Democrat Party, which is nefarious to say the least. But in order to put a fine point on that, we always bring in one woman, Caitlin Sutherland, Executive Director of Americans for Public Trust.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, of course.
Talk all things money and politics.
Yeah. I mean, we read what's reported. We do our own research on a bunch of things. But when we need to dive underneath and actually find out who's funding these things, you're the only person we call.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know every day you wake up, you're like, who's funding Gays for Gaza? Yeah. Who are all these? Yeah. How does everybody have a matching tent for these pro-Hamas protests on these college campuses?
An amazing coincidence.
Well, look at that. Who funded these so-called, these organic protests over the weekend?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to all things follow the money, that's what we love unveiling at Americans for Public Trust. And what we've determined, it's quite a bit of foreign money behind all these liberal dark money groups that are all around D.C.
That's unbelievable.
It is.
I mean, genuinely incredible. Masquerading as this sort of domestic uprising. Foreign money has gotten into this.
Yes, it's a huge problem, and it fills these dark money network coffers. And the fact that foreign money can come, we've talked about it before, it can come into ballot issues, it's coming into these advocacy campaigns, it's coming into climate litigation, it's coming into voter education efforts. It's a huge rampant problem on the local, state, and federal level, and more reforms are needed because it's so bad when you're seeing how the foreign money can come in and affect our politics here in America.
Yeah, and we covered the No Kings rally and the sources of some of their funding through George Soros, and we've obviously talked a lot about Hansborg Weiss on this show,
which they did.
Which
we would not have known about that if not for the good work.
But it's our understanding that you have a new name that's emerged in funding these left-wing organizations. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about this new guy.
Yeah, so we've talked about our, Smug's favorite Swiss billionaire, Hans-Jörg Wyss. Yeah. Sorry he can't join us today. About the hundreds of millions that he has poured into the Arabella Advisors Network, all these, environmental groups around town. And, we've gotten some questions like, what else do you have? Yeah, he's a Swiss billionaire. In fact, one time I had a reporter, I won't say the outlet, it rhymes with Schlumberg, but they said, well, he's from Switzerland. Is that so bad?
No way.
Unbelievable. Man,
yes,
are you kidding?
Absolutely. And I didn't know what to say. And, it was that almost, that J.D. Vance, I don't really care, Margaret. I don't really care. I don't really care that this guy is from Switzerland. And what I said, I was like, I don't care if they're the Canadians, our friendly neighbors to the north. Foreign money has no place in our politics.
Totally.
But, I was like, okay, fine. Yes, we have Hans-Jörg Wyss. He's from Switzerland. He is the floor, not the ceiling of the problem that we have. So we were able to determine that there is a British billionaire. His name is Sir Christopher Hone.
Oh, is he Sir?
Yes, he is a Sir. He's
we
very proper.
This gentleman.
Yes.
Okay.
He is knighted. He is a British billionaire, a foreign national, and an activist hedge fund manager, and he runs a completely unknown charity called the Children's Investment Fund Foundation. Right? What a great name! It must be helping the children, right?
Yeah, right.
You think, oh, children. Well, he's British.
Can't
he's
argue
helping
with
the children.
That. It's about children.
It's maybe orphans. I don't know, clean water.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Whatever the opposite of whatever he's funding, it's coming in to U.S.-based organizations and 501c3s and C4s. We were able to trace that over $550 million in foreign money has come from his UK-based charity into U.S.-based organizations.
$550 million?
Yeah, that we've been able to trace, only in the last 10 years. So that is just a small sample size of the problem that we have of foreign money coming in and undermining our democracy.
I mean, to contextualize that is a third of the entirety of Kamala Harris's presidential campaign.
Right. You're talking about a dark money ecosystem that can far dwarf actual political campaigns themselves.
Yeah.
What sort of organizations are we talking about that he's funding?
Yeah, they're very well-known organizations to all of us here. Tides.
Yeah.
Oh,
no surprise there.
Shocker.
The Arabella Advisors Network. No surprise there. NRDC, the Environmental Defense Fund, very well-known organizations around DC. And you might be listening and think, I've literally never heard of any of those organizations. You may not know those organizations, but you know the policies. The foreign money is bankrolling these extremist policies in the United States. I mentioned climate litigation. They want to ban gas stoves. I mean, these disruptive protests, it's coming in and it's using foreign money to fund all of these activist policies, ideas, and actions in the United States.
Well, we talked about this a little bit in terms of No Kings, in that it became obvious the Tides Foundation played a role in that, and the organization of it was significant. For those of us who do this for a living, you saw that there was organization, to say the least, and it wasn't just about obtaining permits, it was driving turnout, making sure that you had all the requisite bells and whistles of a protest that they attempted to do. You're telling me that at some level, the money that came into these organizations was likely foreign?
Absolutely. And again, we know it from Hans-Jörg Wyss, who is a top donor into Indivisible. He's given millions of dollars to Indivisible. They were the ones, mostly the source of funding behind the No Kings rally. So it's not just Soros, it's foreign money as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of those other, sponsors of the No Kings rally have been funded by not just Christopher Hone, but other foreign charities. So they are using money to fund these protests. And what's interesting about our laws is, as you know, foreign money is only illegal when it comes to our elections.
Yes.
Really only limited to candidates and super PACs. Guess what's not regulated by the FEC?
Yeah.
Issue advocacy campaigns, voter education, protests. So there's these huge loopholes on the state and federal level that actually allow foreign money to bankroll all of these activities.
So you can organize a protest that is ostensibly a public issue of concern under this rubric, where everybody shows up and they're like, the hell with Trump, vote Republicans out. And you're like, it's just, this is what our organization did. People are going to do what they're going to do. And that's all under current law, fine.
Absolutely. For by and large, yes, because, we've all worked on campaigns, that it's not just the candidate and the super PAC that allows you to win on election day.
Yeah.
You cannot win without all these outside groups that are the 501c3s and the 501c4s. You cannot tell me you can win today without C3s and C4s on the outside, doing voter registration, voter education, all the GOTV campaigns, and that can be funded by foreign money. It's a huge loophole that we're working to close.
Well, and you've had some success. I mean, it sounds like once you uncovered this cat,
Yes.
They got a little nervous about it.
Immediately. The
Yeah.
Brits scare easily, apparently. So there was just a few negative articles about him, and Christopher Hone was like, okay, we're done.
Oh.
We're not funding. After bankrolling, like I said, over $500 million, he says we are ceasing funding of these liberal nonprofit groups, mostly focused on climate in the United States. So he has announced that they are pausing the funding almost assuredly forever because of the scrutiny from the foreign funding and where we were able to uncover the money was ending up.
What a dub.
Yeah, it's incredible. And just to think that, like, when you talk about an issue like climate, right, that you could have foreign nationals in places like Europe, or heaven forbid, a place like China, trying to control domestic American energy production
Yes.
in
It's
this
crazy.
country.
Yes.
And you see everything that's gone over, with Europe, with the energy crisis that they had there, and then with the Ukraine-Russia war,
being
and relying upon your adversary for natural gas. The idea that these same foreign nationals could influence our domestic energy policy is a terrifying thing.
Yeah, 100%. But it seems to me like you've uncovered what is the best deterrent for an awful lot of these people, and that you have got an organization, the one that you run, that is bringing this to light, and immediately they're uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Well, it's so important to have this dialogue to shine a light on who's actually funding all of these groups. And when it comes to foreign sources of funding, you can regulate the foreign money, that you can say, no more foreign money into ballot issues. Let's shine a light on the foreign money coming into our colleges and universities. And the next step is, what about the foreign money coming into these liberal dark money nonprofits around town that are turning around and engaging in all these issue advocacy and voter education campaigns? Because it offends your senses when you realize that foreign money, by and large, can fund everything that we're talking about.
Are we getting to any sort of these reforms on the state level with things like foreign funding of ballot initiatives and stuff? I know we talked about this a lot in the run-up to the 2024 election. Is there progress being made there?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. There's huge progress when it comes to cutting off foreign funding of ballot issues. Almost 10 states in the last year have said absolutely not, which is so crucial because right now, in a lot of these competitive states, they're gathering the signatures to qualify for the ballot in 2026. And the fact that in a lot of these states, you can't use foreign funding is so great for our democracy. And just recently, Senator Jim Banks of Indiana introduced legislation on the federal level that would say no foreign funding of ballot issues. But more needs to be done. That's why we're so encouraged by this report and more reports coming out about the problem that is the foreign funding of our politics and policies. We really hope to work with, I'll work with everybody, but, the local, state, and federal level to, turn off some of these sources of foreign funding.
I'd love to see a debate on that.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. It's such an important topic. And I mean, you mentioned some of these ballot initiatives in the early stages of signing people up to vote. We all know what they used the No Kings rallies for. They used them for giant voter registration, vote gathering, and GOTV efforts. It was a guise. We know what their activists were doing underneath the headline and lead of every story. And so I wonder if, you think what you're doing can actually stop this,
foreign
activity.
influence
Exactly.
in what was supposed to be, at least by the spirit of the law, something that's not allowed.
Right, which is probably why they weren't talking about it.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Yeah.
Well, you talk a lot, these 80-20 issues and how much Trump just, picks an 80 issue and is like, I'm going to take the 20%. Let's talk about foreign interference in our elections. That's not even an 80-20 issue. That's like a 90-10 issue. And public polling has actually showed that how popular it is. And time again, the left is like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to, Mark Elias, the left's number one attorney, has actually sued us in multiple states trying to object to these laws that are prohibiting the foreign funding. So you put a popular issue, you put a common sense issue about let's not have any foreign funding in our elections, in our politics. Someone's going to be on that wrong side of the issue working to stop it because, as you said, they're benefiting from this foreign money. Take a look. We examined 10 years worth of Christopher Hohn's giving in the United States, about $500 million. Not a single center-right organization was on that list. It is all the liberal groups. And I got asked about that. Someone said, hey, what about any conservative groups that are getting foreign money? I said, well, I looked at hundreds of groups, and it's not just Christopher Hohn, it's not just Hangser Wies, it's other foreign charities. And I told him, who's not on it? Right to Life. They're not on it. There's no center-right groups that are on this list receiving the foreign money. Now, if they were, they also shouldn't get foreign money, but they're not. It is a problem that almost exclusively happens on the left because they're benefiting from it. They're benefiting from the foreign money with their voter turnout operation and everything else that is bankrolling their unpopular and dangerous policies.
Very funny, though, for a British national to be funding a No Kings.
It was actually called,
have a king.
It was called the No Tyrants protest. Yes. There was an important caveat.
I noticed that they had notes.
Yes.
Yeah. There were notes on that. Kings.
We're okay with those.
Yeah.
So, listen, you guys have made an enormous impact in what it is that you're doing by bringing these things to light. People like this who decide, I don't want the heat. I got to get out of the kitchen. There's legislation now. You're doing stuff on the state-based level. What's next? What are you guys focused on next?
Always following the money and always showing who is the one that's influencing our politics and policy, whether or not it's domestic sources or foreign. Right now, we're really focused on the foreign because some good regulation can come from it. And we'll actually be putting out a report soon showing that we've identified almost $2 billion in foreign, $2 billion with a B, coming into liberal nonprofits in the United States from just 5 foreign charities. So think about that. Just a very small sample, just 5 foreign charities, $2 billion. And again, the center-right organizations are not on that. It's the left that is benefiting from the foreign money, and it's the left that does not want it to stop.
See, this is what it is, such a perfect encapsulation, because it hits all my buttons about, you hear people talk about there's too much money in politics, and like I can't disagree with that. But then you look at presidential elections. Kamala Harris had the biggest cash bonfire in history with $1.5 billion spent in 107 days, far outspending what Donald Trump did. But then you hear about what's actually going for the infrastructure of the Democrat left.
Right.
And what they are doing to the tune of $2 billion for climate stuff, for no kings rallies, and all these other things that wrap into the larger argument that they try to make to the American people. And it's like, dude, the problem is not campaign contributions. This is the problem.
Absolutely. And that's why we're going to see some really, really smart, narrowly tailored reforms to get rid of the foreign money that is coming into the United States.
Yeah, it's really well done. You've done such great work on this stuff. Caitlin Sutherland, I can't thank you enough for your work and what it is that you guys are doing. When you come out with that report, come on back and give us a summary of all that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.